What's going on, guys? My name is Davidson Baker, staff writer at the MMATakeover.com. I'm joined today by one of the many up and coming and relatively new blood in the featherweight division and UFC featherweight contender, Josh Emmett. Mr. Emmett, is it a beautiful day in Sacramento, California? It's got to be looking a lot better than it is in Ohio, right?
Yeah, it's a nice day out here. It's actually a little cooler than it has been. I think it's like in the low 70s. Usually it's like 80 something right now. But yeah, it's a nice day.
Is that normal for Sacramento? It seems like it might be a little hot out there all the time.
Yeah, it's usually hot. Like I said, it's pretty cool out this morning. It's been in like the hundreds and high 90s, so it's actually really nice right now.
Cool, man. What do you got on the agenda today? Once we finish up, you gonna go train, get some rest, maybe. What's on the agenda?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go head out to the Bay Area and do some striking with my boxing coach. We're gonna head down there in a little bit, so that's why I'm actually headed in about an hour.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So let's talk about where you train, and obviously being with one of the most renowned and teams and Team Alpha Male and all those guys that are there with you. How long have you been at Team Alpha Male? And we know that you've been one of their best kept secrets for a long time. When did you first walk in those doors?
So I'm from Sacramento. So I was just lucky that you're right. I opened a gym, one of the best gyms in the world, in my backyard. So when he opened back in 2005, I went into his gym just to take the classes. I've always been a fan of mixed martial arts, and I eventually wanted to fight. So I went in there. I started taking some classes, and then within, I don't know, like a month or two, Uriah came up to me and asked if I was interested in fighting, just because he didn't see me participate in the classes and things like that. And he said he saw a lot of potential in me, and he invited me to some of the pro classes. So yeah, that was back in 2005. So I went to a few pro classes. I was doing that for a little while, and then I ended up going down to Menlo College to wrestle and finish up my degree in 2007. So I kind of put the fighting and everything on hold for a few years. Went down to the Bay Area, got my degree, wrestled for 3 years, came back in 2010 and kind of started where I left off.
Awesome, man. And obviously, as I previously alluded to, there's a lot of guys and a lot of top fighters, and what you said, one of the best gyms in the world. Did you ever feel like that maybe they weren't taking enough time to maybe prioritize your training regimen, or do you feel like maybe everything is kind of arriving right on time?
Everything, it's an individual sport, so it's really not up to anybody else to prioritize certain people's training schedule. So it's kind of whoever wants it the most, they'll put in their work in the room, outside of the room when no one's around. So yeah, it's no one's fault, or it's just my obligation, and it's all up to me. So yeah, everything was perfect, and I think with that, I've been around for a long time, and I had seen people come into the gym and then get right in, so I was just wondering, like, man, when am I going to get in? But everything worked out just right, and I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. So maybe if I got in sooner, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. So yeah, it's been a good ride, and yeah, it's gonna be that much sweeter when I get to the top, just knowing how hard I've worked and everything I've done on my own.
Cool, man. Awesome. And obviously inside of Team Alpha Male, with all of those guys, all the featherweights and bantamweights and lightweights that you guys have at your disposal, who do you consider as maybe a couple of guys that you train with on a regular basis? And maybe if you had to pick one or two, who would you consider maybe a close friend to you?
It's everyone at the gym is been that everyone helps each other out, so everyone's pretty close, and it's so much camaraderie and everything on the team. But some of my main training partners like I was Danny Castillo's main training partners, Uriah's, just so many different people. And Andre Feely and I were main training partners, and now Elkins is in there. So it's just literally so many of us been training for such a long time. And yeah, it was just really, it was a good person. And yeah, I honestly think it is the best gym in the world for the lighter weights.
Awesome, man. Now, let's talk about that UFC featherweight division. It's looking better and better every day. With all these guys that are coming up, like Renato Moicano and Mirsad Bektic. Obviously, with your last fight not going the way you wanted, you're still right there in the thick of the conversation. What do you think you need to do to raise your hand and say, "Hey, man, I'm still here and I'm ready to go to the top"?
Really, it's just I think I just need to win one fight to get right back to where I was at. Right in the mix. Like, you never know with the UFC, depending on injuries, depending on what's going on. And I could still be, 2, possibly 3 fights away from a title fight, and that's with successful wins, of course. Yeah, it was just a little unfortunate. I almost finished him in the first. He caught me in the second.
Yep.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. It is what it is. It's. I guess it's a fight someone's gonna lose. And yeah, it just wasn't my night. But I know I can beat anyone in this division on any given day, and that's just with anything. Anyone can lose. So that wasn't my night, but I'll definitely get it back. And my goal is still to be the champion, and I'll get there.
Awesome, man. And with the guys that you alluded to that you train with, like a Mendez and a Darren Elkins, that both are also inside the top 15. How much do you guys use it to your advantage when one of the three of you, or any other guys in Team Alpha Male for that matter, take fights with guys that someone else inside the gym has already fought in the past?
Yeah, I think it's a huge kind of just insight to the to the actual fight, because even when I was offered the longest fight, I had, my coach, now used to be training partner, Danny Castillo, had fought and beat him in the WEC, and then Chad had beat him in the UFC. So it's like, even just with them, I've been training partners of theirs for over 10 years. So they were, when I got that fight, they were stoked for me, because they knew too that, like, my capabilities are like, he won't be able to handle your power, stuff like that. And just, giving me just, I don't know, just things that he, Longest had done in the past in their fight. And just with them being in there with him, they just gave me a little insight, and felt really confident in my abilities. And luckily it worked out that way too.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, I was at my dad's for Christmas for that card, and right when that fight came on, and right before you threw the hook, the power went out, and when it came back on, he was on the canvas, and I was like, "What's going on, man? Like, what happened?" It was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, man? Like, obviously you had some injuries that you had to deal with. Have you been cleared to come back? You got a date that you're looking at? What's going on?
Yeah, I haven't been cleared yet. I got suspended medically for 6 months with no contact, so that's it's almost coming up. I just had a lot of fractures in my face and some other injuries, so I'm just kind of playing it safe. I've just seen even from just like teammates of mine and just in the sport, people that have had like some bad concussions, they come back too soon, get another concussion on top of that, the first one, to ruin their career. And so I just, as bad as I want to hop back in there, I just have to really, ease back into things and play it careful, just because, I don't want to ruin my career, let alone, my life, and jeopardize my health. So, if I can pick, I want to be on that December 29th card in Vegas, the New Year's Eve card. But it all really depends on when I get back into contact, just to see how I feel, just because some of the fractures are still, somewhat fresh. It's almost been 6 months, so they're still healing. But yeah, I want to fight in December, possibly maybe January, February, so we'll see. It's just kind of sucks, just that it seems that if it goes till January, February, it seems like, then I will be a year to see like some type of positive, and yeah, so I got to do some cool stuff, and I was happy about it.
Right, man. Well, it sounds like at least you're being positive about it, and that's the most important part. Now, as far as looking ahead to that December card, do you got a name that could possibly be a great fight for you, or what do you think?
Yes, I've never called anyone out or anything like that. I always just whoever the UFC offers me, I'm just curious who they want me to fight, and I've never turned down the fight as well. So as far as like rankings go, that doesn't really matter to me either. It's just a number by someone's name, and it's all about the UFC manipulates the rankings depending on who they want to fight. So I really don't care. I'm just curious when I get back in who they offer me.
Thanks for taking the time to answer some of my questions today. I really appreciate it. But I got one more, man. Is Sage Northcutt coming around the gym a lot? Does he refer to you as Mr. Emmett, or does he just call you Josh?
He really is like he's like one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met.
Right.
I remember the first time sparring with him. We were sparring, and I remember I hit him with like a jab, and he stopped and complimented me in the middle of sparring. I was like, God, man! I was like, I just thought in my head like, what? Yeah, but he really is. He's honestly like the nicest guy I think I've ever met.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I had to ask. I feel the same way when I see him in interviews. So, hey, man, thanks again for taking the time. I know you got a busy day, and I was a little bit late on the call, so I appreciate it more than you know, man.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, man. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.